Jack Eichel, perennial NHL All-Star, Stanley Cup champion, and arguably one of the most underrated and underappreciated players in the NHL. The story of Jack Eichel is fascinating to say the least. It's a journey of a young phenom grappling with adversity, a tumultuous departure, and ultimately a triumphant redemption. Most people today recognize Jack as a franchise player who helped lead the Vegas Goldenknights to their first Stanley Cup. But before he found success, before he lived out his dream, there was a dark point in his hockey career that nearly altered his playing days. This year, Jack Eichel is having the season of his life, leading his team in the Pacific Division and ranking among the top players in points so far. But how did Jack reach this status in the league? And why aren't more people talking about this player? Well, today, let's break down the career of Jack Eichel, his early days, the dark times, and how an unwavering pursuit of a dream was realized by one decision. From the frozen ponds of Chelmsford, Massachusetts, all the way to the hollowed ice of Boston University, Jack Eichel has been a phenom since the day he decided he wanted to play the sport. He dominated junior hockey and rose through the ranks of the NCAA with the Terriers, becoming the first freshman in history to win the Hobey Baker Award. His shot was blistering, talent immense, and creativity was just unmatched. So how did he go from being one of the top prospects in the 2015 draft to being one of the more under-discussed players in today's game? Now, before we get into his story, about 90% of the people who are watching these videos have not subscribed to the channel. I have a sub goal of about 20,000 subscribers that I would like to reach by the end of the month, and I know that we can all do that, so if you guys want to follow along with my channel and continue supporting me, make sure you go ahead and hit that like button now and subscribe to the channel. And without further ado, let's discuss the inspiring career of Jack Eichel. To start out Eichel's story, let me take you back 10 years. The 2015 NHL draft is widely recognized as one of the deepest and most talent-stricken drafts in modern hockey. Highlights from that year include players like Mikko Rantanen, Mitch Marner, Kirill Kaprizov, Sebastian Aho, Matt Barzal, Kyle Connor, and many others. However, two players that year stood above the rest, Connor McDavid and Jack Eichel. Both were phenomenal players through their early hockey days, and both were considered for the first overall selection that year. Eventually, Connor McDavid would be taken by the Edmonton Oilers with the first overall pick, while Jack Eichel would be selected by the Buffalo Sabres with the second overall pick. Now, Buffalo was a city starved for hockey success. They saw Jack Eichel as their savior who could fix all of their problems. The hype at the time was immense. He surged onto the NHL scene and immediately demonstrated his talent. In his rookie year, he played 81 games, tallying 56 points with 24 goals and 32 assists. While team success remained elusive, Eichel became a cornerstone, a beacon of hope for the fan base and for this struggling franchise. He delivered highlight reel goals, electrifying plays, and a level of skill that we rarely see. The future seemed bright, and the city seemed optimistic about their hockey team finally returning to relevancy. The first few seasons of the Eichel tenure in Buffalo were pretty consistent. He averaged around 60 points per season and continued to improve in different facets of his game. In his fourth year, he truly broke out, having an 82-point season that to this day remains his career high. But it was at this point where Eichel's tenure in Buffalo started to take a narrow turn. There was no denying the overall potential that existed on the Sabres. Unfortunately though, despite their efforts and despite their roster makeup, the team just couldn't manage to reach the postseason with Eichel on their roster. Tensions were brewing and comments began sneaking out of players and the organization's mouths about the frustrations that they were experiencing, specifically from Eichel as the team captain, who told the press that he was tired of playing losing hockey. This was just the start of the rift between Eichel and the Sabres. The saga continued for quite some time, but then came the injury, a herniated disc in his neck, a devastating blow that threatened to derail his career entirely. The traditional surgical approach recommended by the Sabres medical team was one Eichel vehemently disagreed with, believing it would jeopardize his future in the sport. This disagreement ignited a firestorm of controversy about whether or not a player should be able to decide his health based on his own beliefs versus the organization's. The ensuing conflict saw his captaincy stripped, adding another layer of complexity to an already volatile situation. This went on for months with trade rumors and speculations, and it was evident that Eichel's days in a Sabres uniform were limited, but the standoff eventually reached a climax with a trade to another organization back in 2021. The Buffalo Sabres had eventually found a trade partner, officially trading Jack Eichel to the Vegas Golden Knights in exchange for Alex Tuch, Peyton Krebs, a first-round pick in 2022, and a second-round pick in 2023. For Jack Eichel, it was a chance for him to rewrite his story, to pursue his preferred surgical procedure, and to prove his doubters wrong. For the Vegas Golden Knights, it was a bold gamble, a potential game-changer to bolster their already formidable roster, and for the Buffalo Sabres, it was another player that they had to ship out of town because of interpersonal conflict. This trade, however, wasn't just about hockey in my eyes. It was symbolic of a fresh start, a chance to escape the shadow of the past and embrace a new future. A chance for a player to take control over his body and get the surgery that he believed would better not only his playing days, but life after. The trade for Jack Eichel was wild at the time. Alex Tuch was a good player for the Knights organization, but they believed they needed to change something in order to get themselves back to the finals, thus beginning the conversation around the Vegas Golden Knights being cutthroat and not wanting to keep any player who they didn't believe would benefit their winning culture. Something that a lot of hockey fans seem to hate today, but also at the same time kind of love and respect. The gamble paid off spectacularly, not just for Jack Eichel individually, but for the entire Golden Knights organization. The organization backed Eichel's preferred method of surgery. His recovery was remarkable and demonstrated how tough of an individual this player was to be able to overcome such a large mental hurdle. His arrival in Vegas injected a new dynamic into the team's offensive culture, providing them with a playmaker who could elevate the performance of his line mates. The Golden Knights had found their top-line center and the missing piece to their championship success. The team propelled themselves onto a breathtaking run that ultimately ended in the franchise's first Stanley Cup championship. Eichel, a pivotal player in their success, finally had his moment on the grandest stage for any hockey player. His contributions were significant, though perhaps unsung in the midst of team celebrations. The journey to Vegas was hard-fought and filled with a lot of tough decisions for Jack Eichel, but fortunately everything seems to be working out exactly the way he had hoped. Now last year, following their championship run, the Vegas Golden Knights were knocked out in the first round by the Dallas Stars, but this year, they seem to be coming back with a vengeance, and most importantly, Jack Eichel is playing some of the best hockey of his career. We're almost at the halfway mark of the 2024-25 NHL season, and Jack Eichel is showcasing the full extent of his talent, leading the Golden Knights in scoring with an astonishing start. At the time of this recording, he has 42 points in 31 games played. With 9 goals and 33 assists, he's on pace for the best season of his career. He is no longer just a supreme talent. He's proven, he's a leader, a superstar, and so vital to the success of this Vegas organization. His performances so far have solidified him as one of the elite centers in the league. He embodies the definition of an underrated star. He's a player whose exceptional talent might often get overshadowed, but never underestimated by his opponents. Jack was featured in the NHL Face-Off documentary this year, and through that journey you could see his competitive drive and almost undeniable will to compete and win in hockey games. For those unfamiliar with his game, it's time to start appreciating the talent that he is in this league as he continues to not only improve each season, but defy expectations with every game played. But this is the story of Jack Eichel's career so far. What's your favorite moment from his journey, and how many points do you have him finishing the year with based on his hot start? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. As always, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys in the next episode.